Boxing King Media, powered by BYD. We're back at the showroom. You know what, Johnny? The amount of people I keep bumping into recently saying, "Oh, I love them interviews at the showroom with Johnny Nelson and Domingo." So I thought, why not? Why do it at your house? We'll come back to the showroom, and here we are.
I like coming down here, actually. It's trying to talk Wayne into a new car. No, I loved it. Trying to talk Wayne into that 4x4.
the
Bad.
the one behind you, the BYD.
No, no, it's the U8. The U8. It's not in the country yet. But
Okay,
yeah, apparently it weighs 4.5 ton. So I
three and a
think
half.
no. You can get in the country, but it's a 3.5 tonner, but it's a 4.5 ton.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
that's why it's not here yet.
Okay. Well, the CLU behind you is a hybrid. I think it does like 500 plus miles, and
Yeah,
I
my
mean,
daughter's getting that one.
you don't always get that one. It's a beautiful car.
Bad car.
Also, I don't know if you know or not, BYD is celebrating their 30th anniversary, so we want to wish them all the best and obviously thank them for.
Happy birthday, BYD. 30 years in the business. You know what? I had no idea. But when you drive it anywhere and everywhere, everybody's like, double take. But nice car to just cruise with.
It definitely is, and a huge congratulations to them. 30 years in the business, and obviously they've jumped into the car uh, business now, and they're literally taking over the EV market. We're here to talk boxing, Johnny. You've been a bit low key. What you been doing the last few weeks? I haven't seen you anywhere.
Just being busy. I'm just about to push out an app. So I've been working on that. So working
What's
with
this
an
app?
American company.
What's all that about?
Proper nutrition, just a nutrition app, helping people get on a healthier lifestyle, physically as well as mentally. So that'll probably be out by the end of this month. So I've been working on that, and really just doing some stuff away from the camera, just to just get my peace.
So when the app comes out, I'm guessing you'll have download links and where people can download it, etc.
Yeah. You'll be able to download it. We'll probably push it out. Before the end of November, so you can download it, get onto it. It's about lifestyle, and practice what you preach. So I get a lot of people asking me, you've lost weight, they ask me about the dieting and stuff like that. It's not hard. It's making it simple, less complicated. So I thought, why not? Yorkshire term, proper nutrition.
Proper nutrition. That's the word. Let's talk boxing. I think the obvious thing to talk about is the biggest news. I think there's been rumours about it for a while. I don't know if you heard the rumours, but it was confirmed a couple of days ago. Frank Warren is leaving TNT and is joining the Zone in a huge deal. He's obviously signed loads of fighters in the last few months, and I'm assuming it's because he knew what was coming. What do you kind of make of that? Are you shocked, surprised?
Well, is TNT going to stay in boxing?
Apparently they are.
Also, if they're staying in it, then it makes me think twice about it. If they're not, then I can understand Frank moving to DAZN. And DAZN, by the looks of it from the outside looking in, they're going to try and get as many promoters under their umbrella as possible to work with them. So they're probably doing a mini version of what Riyadh Season are doing, getting everybody working together. I think the first impression was DAZN was heading DAZN were they're hand in hand, but realistically, DAZN's there to try and build an umbrella promoters and their boxing channel. Frank doing that. Frank has proved his wisdom, which is the one thing you can't buy, borrow, pretend to have, is outfoxed Eddie most of the time. And so now he's moved into the zone. We'll say it works. It's rejuvenated him to get a platform for his stable of fighters to operate from. So you can't beat the experience that he's got, but he's just got to come through. He's on a roll at the moment. Look at the fighters he's got.
One of the things, because I did ask Frank if TNT were going to stay in boxing, my understanding is that they obviously gave him an offer as well, but the investment that the Zone were offering with regards to like bigger events, obviously opportunity to put on more shows, I'm assuming all this, they just offered a bigger budget. So TNT, my assumption is that they did make an offer, but
well, maybe you should talk to someone at TNT, because if you're hearing one side of the story, then that's their story. But maybe you should get hold of somebody that represents TNT and ask them what the score is. Are they going to stay in it? If they're not going to stay in it, then you understand Frank moving across to the zone, no matter what's said about why he's done it. So maybe you've got to hunt down executive or somebody in authority to give you the lowdown from TNT, and that way you can have a balanced argument.
What do you make of like because I said this to Frank as well all them years ago when he started Box Nation, and I remember all the other promoters were saying he's crazy for doing this, like setting up a dedicated boxing channel. Boxing's not a big enough sport to have a dedicated channel, and I know the Zone do show other stuff, but boxing seems to be like the biggest one on there from what I know. So does it show Frank is like almost like a visionary, you know, because he thought of this stuff years ago?
Yeah, I understand that, but we've had was it Satanta?
Santa, yeah. Frank was on there as well, wasn't he?
Sports Network UK. You've got all these great ideas about creating a boxing channel, and if you're in boxing, you think the whole world's into boxing. It's not until you're out of boxing you realise there's actually that much. So I think one dedicated channel for boxing, no matter how much we love it, there's not enough for it to be sustainable, in my opinion, just to show boxing. And that's why I think Dazn have got to put the years in to get them ingrained into people's households, you know, and everywhere, and like Sky have done, to get that established. But as you say, if you're just depending on boxing to get a channel to flow, I think you'll start. I've seen them all come and go, and they're all great ideas. But at the end of the day, it's not about. It doesn't matter what the promoter says. It's about people watching and paying to watching it, keeping it afloat. So I think Dazn, you know, they're making a massive investment. I don't know what the financial figures are, if it's balancing out or not. I don't know, but I'm kind of guessing there's an initial time limit and investment they're going to throw into it to see if it wipes its own backside and do it that way. But you know, I think that's just my opinion.
Did you ever imagine the day or time that we'd see Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn on the same TV channel?
No, but then again, I keep saying, Frank said to me, Johnny, sometimes you've got to work with people you don't like. It's business. So it doesn't surprise me. I think it was probably pride and ego more than anything else why these two didn't work together, and probably more on Frank's side than Eddie's side. Eddie will do business with anybody as long as it works for him. So I think it's ego more than anything else. And I understand that Frank's like the old dog, and he's thinking, I gotta sit at the same table with you. You're a young pup. So now his ego's had a word with him and think, I've got to go by what I said. You know, I've got to work with people I don't like, so I get the job done.
I think it's his son George Warren. You know, shout out to George. He stays behind the scenes, so he's not a big fan of the cameras, but he's one that orchestrated the deal. Do you think they'll be competing with each other, or will they be kind of just more like a partnership thing? Because I asked the guy at the Zone, and he said that with regards to dates, they don't want Frank and Eddie to go on the same date, so they've got to talk about what dates they want to go, and it's got to be different days.
Well, they've got it's business. These two are very, very good, accomplished businessmen, so I'm quite sure they'll work together on a professional level. How would it be personally? I don't know. I gather Frank's great company on on a personal level, but so is Eddie. But if business is your life, when are you going to get the chance to socialise personally? So you've got two top businessmen working together that have been given an opportunity to display their business and get the job done. So this is all business, it's not personal. Will I see them working together? Happy working together? Well, they're not going to do each other any favours, you know, because they're going to want their business to stand head and shoulders above the other.
Obviously, the other question, we don't know yet because nothing's officially come out. But do we know, obviously you work for Sky, do we know where Sky stand with their position in boxing? I think from what I've read, I think 2025 was the year they had to renew or continue, I'm not sure, but what's the latest?
No idea at all. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, it's business as usual until I'm told otherwise.
Could you ever see a position where, let's just say Sky don't continue with boxing? Could you ever see that? Because you've been involved with Sky for so long, 20 odd years. Could you ever see him ever not being involved?
I think you've got to remember, if you're a boxing fan and you love watching boxing, Sky's a sports channel, and they're giving most sports, putting most sports on their platform. I think boxing is probably 2% of its income. So they could switch boxing off in a heartbeat. It wouldn't make any difference to their business. So they're still supplying the fans with what they want. They're still giving something to the fans to the sport of boxing. So we should be grateful for that, no matter what, because when he put a good show on, he put a good show on. Could I imagine it? No. I think they'd always have some kind of finger on the pulse of boxing, depending on the levels of it, big or small. I'd always think they'd be involved in some way, shape, or form.
We hope so. Also, the other day on TNT, I don't know if you saw the fight or not, Shabaz Masoud, Liam Davis.
I heard,
an
man.
incredible fight.
Yeah.
And it went completely opposite to what I think it's fair to say probably 90% of the people expected.
Terry O'Connor, he's 116, 112 or 110.
116, 112 Terry O'Connor.
So the guy that he was probably reflecting the fight, he was the one that's probably done his job properly more than anybody else. And you know, a win's a win, a loss is a loss, and you're looking at it and be aghast at when you hear the scorecard split decision, and so that's where the politics of our games come in. You went, come on, man! But Terry O'Connor, you got to give props where it's due, because I know this man's had some stick before. He called it how it should have been called. An amazing fight. I think Shabaz boxes a southpaw, worked off the back foot, hit not be hit, always on the move. Did 12 rounds, did 12 rounds well. I think he the art of surprise, and he did a great job. Showed an excellent exhibition of boxing.
It was like a classic example of, like, we saw after the AJ loss how people kind of jump on the trainers, and then this weekend obviously it was quite obvious that he followed a certain game plan with what he did with his backhand on the front foot and the back foot, and it was quite specific. He obviously followed something that he said to me afterwards. He just followed what the tactics were, and he obviously came off. So does that kind of show maybe are we too harsh to kind of jump on trainers sometimes?
No, I'll tell you the lesson I've learned, and I think a lot of it was, just go down the AJ line again. A lot of it was surrounded with AJ and Ben, and I kind of gave Ben some unjust stick, because I said you give the keys to a Porsche to this, give a learner the keys to a Porsche, and you can't blame any trainer if they're given a fighter to work with. His job is to get experienced and get the best, work to the best of his ability. So you can't blame him for taking on the job. Unfortunately, if you give a trainer that's inexperienced the job, he's going to do the best he can. It's a responsibility of the person that's given him the job and the responsibility. No trainers can say, no, I don't want that responsibility, because they want to improve themselves. So I still think Ben is still growing, developing as a coach. I think the stick he's getting, if you look at the bigger picture, is unjust, because he only did what everybody else would do. You just say, yeah, give me that job, I'll do this. He's learning on the job. I think he'll deserve the credit in probably 10 years' time, when he's put the time in, he's got the experience, and truly understands fighters, a fight psyche. So again, you put that to one side. So it's about levels of fighters. So for Shabazz, it worked perfectly for him, because he was in there with somebody that had experienced top level fighting, top level mistakes, top level success, and he could pass it on to him. So Ben is probably measuring himself now at fighters he's with, say, right, then what I know is enough to is more than you, to bring you up to the next level, to get to where you want to be. If you take a fight that's been there high and he's coming down to work with him, he's going to get the stick. The spotlight's going to be shone on him. So you don't blame the trainers. They're just going to do what they know, to the best of their ability. They're going to make mistakes, but the only way you get wisdom is by making mistakes.
Indeed. We'll jump on to AJ. It's now been confirmed that he's definitely not fighting Daniel Dubois. He's got an injury. We don't know what the injury is. What would you make of all that, and Daniel's potential next opponent?
It doesn't surprise me. I personally believe there's probably mental torment in regards to, is it going to be a mercenary now? I'm quite sure he's not been oblivious to opinions, and he's one to ask opinion. He's notorious for that. So I'm quite sure he's heard things I've said, other people have said. So he's got to think to himself, well, how much do I really want this? So he's got to change his mindset, because he's been at the top of the mountain. So does he go in there as a mercenary, think, I want to go in for the money? and from the AJ we've heard and spoken about, and he's heard his speak, I think it'd be very hard for him to kind of prostitute himself like that. So I think he's in a dilemma whether or not he carries on or not, regardless of what's said to you and I. And I'm quite sure you milk a cow until he's got no milk left. But he's still a young, fresh-faced, smart man, very wealthy, very comfortable. So I think his decision making is on him, because I'm quite sure voices, the milkmen around him will be trying to say, no, we'll just do this, we'll just do that. It'll be him that's got to decide, how much do I really want this? Do I want to prostitute myself? I think Tyson, even at the press conference with the Usyk fight, this last press conference coming up, he's very subdued in the press conference, humbled, and rumored to be saying, well, I'm going to make mad. He's talking about money. So I thought, you hear a change in language, you hear a change in motivation, and I'm telling you, if you're a fighter just going there for the money, and money is your motivation, that's when the accidents happen. That's when the really bad stuff happens. So if you want to fool yourself and say that's what I'm doing it for, when a fight gets hard, AJ and Tyson, when a fight gets hard, if it's money's your motivation, when it gets hard towards you think, I'm out of here, you'll see quitting a fight. And you saw it with Nigel Benn. Remember when he boxed, was it Steve Collins? And quit midway through. Nobody would have ever thought Nigel Benn did that. The fight had left Nigel Benn many years before that. But, his motivation to fight was different. And this happens with all fighters. Nobody is nobody's in a position that it won't happen to them. So I think with AJ, I think with Tyson, if your motivation is money, your hunger and your desire to really dig deep and go to the trenches is gone. So I think when they're talking about an injury, I don't believe that. I believe that he's doing a lot of self-thought. In regards to Daniel Dubois, you've got to make way for the new kid on the block. He's had to succeed and fail in public.
But why don't, I'm just going to jump in there, why don't you believe the injury story?
Well, what's the injury?
We don't know.
Okay, but I got an injury. I could say that. What's the injury? Put some meat on the bones.
I'm kind of judging it on past experiences. We've seen him jump straight into rematches with Usyk, Ruiz. So
what's different?
I'm just saying, I'm kind of judging on previous experiences where he's lost and he's took a rematch straight away. So based on that, what I'm saying is he's not shied away from rematches.
Okay, then. So what I'm saying is, so you're saying if he boxes on his next fight, is going to be against, if Daniel Dubois wins his next fight, will be against Daniel Dubois. I don't
this is what
believe
we've been
so.
told, from my understanding, that Frank Warren said that they wanted Dubois out in Feb, and AJ wouldn't be ready for Feb, and they wanted like May. And Dubois didn't want to wait till May, so because he's got a voluntary, so that's why he's going to fight somebody else.
So we got to wait and see who AJ fights next. No warm up straight in there. And I think there's enough time to rest your body, to go through it. If you're injured, you're injured. I don't know enough to say he's not, but I just think that's more, the injury's more there than anywhere else, in my opinion. And so that's for him to make his mind up and decide how that works. You got February. How long ago was the fight? Was it a month ago? So we'll just see. We'll see how bad the injury and we'll see how bad the injury lasts us for in regards to next opponents. Or is he waiting to see the result of Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, and if Tyson Fury loses, then his next fight is the big money fight against Tyson Fury, not Daniel Dubois. It's not about titles then, it's about giving the public what they want. Will that be the case? Do you want to see a third fight with AJ and Usyk? Does he deserve, will he deservedly get the opportunity? Because now I think he's ranked number 8 in the ranking, so what governing body is going to give him the bly to leapfrog everybody else to get back in with Usyk again, unless it's a voluntary.
If you're Fury and if he beats Usyk, why would you fight AJ when you could potentially?
If you're Fury and you beat Usyk,
if Fury beats Usyk,
yeah,
And if you're Tyson Fury, come January, why would you fight AJ when you could potentially fight Daniel Dubois for undisputed again?
Because the biggest purse out there for Fury and AJ are each other. It still is. It still is. And if Fury loses, it still is. You know, because out of curiosity, you know, sometimes fights, you know, supersede belts, titles, whatever. That's a fight that everybody's always wanted to see. So that's why, if I was Fury, and it's just these boys have just got to stick to the stage of their life where they're not the fighters they were. So the fighters say, oh, they've got to make, if they're going to carry on this game, they've got to think business more than personal. So business wise, what do I do? Do I fight Danny Dubois? Do I fight Usyk for a third time? Or do I fight him? Oh, and I'll get paid ridiculous money and have a chance to win and come back and fight Usyk or Danny Dubois.
Let's see what happens. Sticking with the Ben Davison gym, Campbell Hatton took the rematch against Jimmy Flint, and he lost again. And I spoke to Dom the other week. You know, Dom didn't mince his words. He usually doesn't, as you know. Eddie Hearn didn't mince his words either. You know, Eddie was quite. You know, I've never seen Eddie be that brutal about one of his fighters. You know, he said that he's shown no improvement, and you know, he'll have to come back in the small hole shows type of thing. That's what he was planning. So, what did you make of Campbell Hatton's loss last week?
I think Campbell Hatton, I don't disagree. I think Campbell Hatton from day one, because of who his dad is, he's been given an amazing platform to start from. You've got to learn your job on the job. And if you straight away start learning the job like, you know, from the levels of a champion, you're not of championship material, you're going to be in a false reality. I really don't think what I see of Campbell, and that sounds cruel and unfair, I don't think he's good enough. I think he's a good kid, you know, on the low domestic level. He's got
Anything wrong with that though? Anything wrong with that? Because
No, it's not. But to hear it, for him to watch this and hear me say it, it's going to piss him off. But I just don't think he's good enough. He's not a bad kid, but that's it. I can't see him being British champion. I can't see him being, I just can't see it, anything even close to that. And so it's been giving real talk, but I get on with his dad, and I like Campbell, but it sounds offensive, but I'm just telling you what I see, and I'm probably saying that his dad probably thinks that as well, but it's his son. You know, so he's going to give his son hope his son achieves everything possible. You know, there's nothing wrong in that. But if you want an honest opinion, I just don't think he's good enough. And he's got an amazing springboard, a better springboard than most fighters at his stage in his career. And so, you know, he's making the most of it.
like you said there, and I think Eddie said that there's no disgrace in being at area level or domestic level. So is there anything wrong with that? Because I think there's like a big, because I see it in the comments and people kind of jump on fighters who aren't going to get past British level, but ultimately it's no different to having, like, say, a Division 2 football team that finishes third or
You've got to
fourth.
start somewhere.
Yeah.
I was Central Area champion. You know, I was Central Area, then British, then European. You've got to start somewhere. I was never expected to get past Central Area level. Someone's got to, you know, stack it up underneath. You've got to start somewhere.
What I'm saying is, there's nothing. It's not like you're a failure in life because you're still fighting.
You're not a failure and the thing is, you know, you're a failure.
Probably didn't need to
you're
fight,
a failure if you're an armchair champion. You're not that good, really. I became Central Area champion. You have a go. So there's nothing wrong with, you know, he's doing something that he likes doing, and you know what? When he quits, he'll probably think, you know, I just wasn't good enough to be the fighter I wanted to be. I'm doing it because I don't have to do it. I'm doing it because
he actually made a statement the other day. You know, it's just based on what you said there. And I think it was along the lines of he said that I didn't. Oh, let me get it up because I don't want to get it wrong. It was quite a good statement, and I think he kind of, what you're saying right now, he kind of corrects some of that. Let's have a look. Where's it gone? Oh, had some time away from the socials. Gutted about the result. I thought I did enough to get the nod, but no complaints. Tony, the best rounds I've ever done. Body and pride have been so. I've never claimed to be the future of boxing or the next Ricky Hatton. Just in the game to see how far I can go. And that's not changed. 23 years old and I've got plenty of time to improve.
Yeah, and there you go. And that's what it is. And because of who his dad is, you're expecting the same heights of success. It's not going to happen. And you're seeing fighters room for improvement. I don't see that in him. I think he doesn't see it himself, but he's fortunate to be in a position where he doesn't have to do it, but he wants to do it because he loves boxing. Nothing wrong with that at all.
I suppose in every aspect of life, there's always going to be like, so, like you said, fill in the gaps, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think sometimes it just sounds quite ruthless when like we're saying, or not me saying it, you're saying it, that yeah, you're not good enough. But I see what you're saying. You're, in fact, you're a bit younger than him, aren't you? Mike Tyson going to war next week, and some of the statements he's come out with this week talking about, he's that side of him that he doesn't like and he's scared of. That side's coming back. The side that made him exciting for boxing fans. He's saying that side's back.
Let's just remember, Mike Tyson is 58 years old. Let's remember, Mike Tyson at the back end of his boxing career was not the fighter he was. So those of us that are getting lost in nostalgia about who Mike Tyson was, he'd gone a long time ago. So now this Mike Tyson is experienced enough to know how to sell a fight. He knows how the basics of a fight, what needs to be done. He knows what he needs to do in his head, but his body's 58 years old, so his body won't do what he wanted to do when he was getting paid to do this job at the back end of his career. Now, Jake Paul, again, it's business. This boy is buying scalps. And Mike Tyson said the money that he makes from this is not life-changing money. I beg to differ. I do think he's going to make a shite load. And he's probably heard the whispers that say Mike's doing it for the money, even if he needs it or not. I hope Mike shows a good representation of himself. I did have another dream.
Oh God!
And
you're gonna have to tell us a dream this time.
And so yeah, but I say what I see, it just comes out wrong. I dreamt that Mike knocked him out, but I didn't see Mike knocking him out in the dream. Someone said Mike had knocked him out.
Okay.
Knocked out Jake Paul. So we'll see. But I just think Mike, as long as he's in good health, as long as he's all right. And listen, the old boys, they say we expect Mike Tyson to do it because of Mike's friends. What difference does it make? He's 58 years old. In reality, do you expect anything more from a 58-year-old man boxing somebody half his age that has the pace, has youth, has Jake Paul's got to stay away. Not he's had 10 fights in, so he's either got to make a mistake and get greedy and get caught by a shot, or box smart, in and out, use pace. Don't be surprised if someone gets disqualified. Mike gets disqualified for holding and butting. I don't know. Don't be surprised, because Mike's got to get him up close in front of him. Mike's got to go looking for him. He's never going to win in a million years. So he's got to get him in close and tie him up. So when he gets him close, don't be surprised Mike hooks those hands in and tries to work on the inside.
What about the fact that you're a similar age? So you could probably judge it better than anyone. You're obviously physically, probably, you talk about it yourself, you're in great shape. Could you step in the ring with Jake Paul and beat him?
Let me tell you that. So the back of my career, when I was getting old and young ones coming through, I understood my pace could not match theirs, and I understood that I could be consistent with my pace all the way through the rounds that we were sparring. But the thing is, when you're an older man fighting a younger man, you saw it with Better Beav and Bivol. Better Beav had to stay at the same pace he started with and the same pace he finished on. So when you're the older man, you've got to start at a pace. If you're taken out of that pace, you're going to gas. And when you gas, that's when a young man's going to run rings around you and probably beat you up. So Mike Tyson's going to probably start off at a pace, and Jake Paul's going to be too fast for him.
8 2-minute rounds?
It doesn't matter, and that makes it even worse, because 8 2-minute rounds are like 8 sprints. You could, Mike hasn't got that in him. And like it or not, that's nature. He hasn't got it in him. So he's got to hope Jake stands in front of him. He's got to hope Jake is not super fit to do these 8 2-minute rounds on his toes all the way through. He's got to hope that happens. Because if Mike steps out of his pace, he's going to get knocked out. Because he's going to be tired. And Jake's going to have youth on his side. It doesn't mean Jake's a better fighter. It just means Jake's the younger fighter that still has that speed, that youth, that tempo. You see training images of Mike, bam, 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 he's on it. It's like 15 seconds. You switch the camera on, let me see him do that again 15 seconds later. I'd love Mike to do it just for these youngsters.
Put them 15 seconds to take out Jake Paul. One of them 15-second moments.
Yeah, you know what? And that one punch changes down everything in the fight. And Jake Paul, I'm not saying the boy can't fight, because the kid's all right. But Jake Paul is at a stage in his life where, he's got a lot more going for him than Mike has in this fight. So we'll just see.
So, when you're punching the bags, your power, your speed, is it like, how different is it to what it was like, say, 30 years ago?
Hand-eye coordination is off. So when you throw that shot, your feet have got to be in the right position to take the full boom, full power to finish it off with a combination and come up with another combination. As you get older, hand for eye combination, timing goes. It's life. It's time, and that's why older people, when they get older, they've got to keep doing things. You run up the stairs when you're 20 years old, and you're 30 years old. You run up a bit smaller when you're 40 years old. You walk up the stairs, it's just your body slowing down. You've not got that quick twitch that your body would have naturally. Mike hasn't got that. He might have it for 15 seconds, but then it's going to take him 2 minutes to get back to do it again. So in that 2 minutes, what's going to happen in that 2 minutes when he's trying to get his timing back again? So Jake Paul, if he wants to be sensational, he could stand there with Mike Tyson up close, and let Mike Tyson try and slug it out, and then go for glory and see if he can knock him out if he's lucky enough, or he'll box smart.
Make a prediction on the spot. What's going to happen?
Do I go with my dream? Say Mike Tyson knocks him out, or do I go with Jake Paul? Common sense tells me Jake Paul, but I'm going to go with my dream.
Wicked. Let's see what happens for the fans. Donald Trump, the new president.
That's a surprise.
Yeah.
Actually, not a surprise.
Yeah.
Donald Trump
51 by 1.8% he won.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He played a good game. And the thing is, Donald Trump, he doesn't talk like a politician. He's a businessman that doesn't talk like a politician. He talks like the rest of the world talks. So politicians talk in politician talk. Donald Trump talks like most of the people in his country. So that's why they could relate to him, and that's why he's found himself in the position he's in. He's a very good businessman, but he doesn't talk like a politician. Whereas politicians are not very good businessmen, but they talk like politicians. So what lesson is to be learnt there? Politicians have got to learn to speak the language of the people, so people can relate to them. So they I buy into you, I get you. Don't be in my hood, when you want my vote. Speaking the language that I understand, regardless of what you like about what Donald Trump said or not, he speaks in the language of most of the people that he's trying to represent in his country. And he might play on the fears or inhibitions of people's worries. He'll have that conversation, and so that's why people could relate to him in America, and that's why you've got your politicians saying, "Oh my God, this man said this, he said that." He doesn't talk politician language. But as a businessman, you've got to think this guy's been a successful businessman. He's failed, he's succeeded, he's made the law work in his favour in regards to business. These politicians are not business people. So therefore you're asking people that are not business people to run a country on a budget, and they're going to make mistakes because they're not business people. So Donald Trump is a businessman. So regardless of how he does his business, he'll probably be successful in the business he does. He might not suit most, but that's just how it is. He just spoke the language of the people that he's representing.
Well, I hope he ends all these wars, because I think that's one of the things he said he's going to do. I think from my knowledge, he's one of the very few presidents that didn't go to war. So all these innocent people that are unfortunately getting caught up in all this mess in the Middle East, I hope he stops all that shit. And so hopefully, because obviously it is the most powerful country in the world, so hopefully he can make a bit of a change for peace. Johnny, any last words before we go?
Keep in touch. You keep disappearing a lot. You're going all over the place, holidaying all over the place.
No, not holidays, but just working.
Working. I know you're workaholic, but you're doing an amazing job.
Just to give you an idea, Saturday Birmingham, Sunday morning GBM press conference, Sunday evening Daniel Dubois in Manchester, and then Monday morning to London for Frank Warren and Dazn.
Will you be going to watch Chris Bill and Smith?
I will be, yeah. I have to go to that one. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good. I never interviewed Oscar De La Hoya, so I'm looking forward to that.
I like him. Clapback Thursdays.
Yeah.
He's wicked. Yeah. Funny, man. Yeah. Funny, but good on him.
Crazy character. I've got a funny feeling he's going to go down the Chris Eubank Jr. route next week and rock up in traditional Saudi gear. I could just see that happening.
Well, good. It's respectful. You just be respectful. It's not a gimmick. You got to be respectful, and if you go to someone's country, you got to respect their laws. And if you don't respect the laws, you can't be pissed off that you get in trouble. It's like me going into your house and just walking into your cupboard and your fridge, taking things out without asking.
With your shoes on.
With my shoes on.
Yeah.
You got to be respectful.
There you go. So that's it really, Johnny. Appreciate your time as always. And like I always remind people, get yourself down to BYD. Just mention Boxing King Media, where you've heard, us talking about it. they have got some crazy deals on. If you've got a business and you're into buying, you want to take advantage of buying an EV car, BYD are currently outselling everyone in the UK. There's a reason behind it. If you check out the cars, even just take one for a test drive, you'll see the amount of kit you get in a BYD on standard compared to other EV cars. It's worlds apart.
I've got 6 mates that have actually come down that were probably like me, and they were probably a bit gun shy getting into an EV car, but they've come out and bought. You know, it's probably the range. It's probably the drive. You know,
The equipment's a big thing, because I think with other EV cars where you've got to pay like 10-15 grand extra to have, like, you know, certain features in the car, these just come standard.
you know what throws me? Not going into a petrol station. It throws me. Absolutely throws me. I think the infrastructure of getting some fast chargers are building up slowly and surely around the country. So we're probably a few years behind for it to be just like, you know, every corner. But not going into a petrol station. It's just like, oh yeah, right.
Just charging up at home. But definitely, biggest suggestion is just come down and test drive on that BYD Sheffield. If you search that, it's not hard to find. Test drive one, and I promise anyone that you'll be shocked how good they are. So yeah, Johnny, as always, mate, appreciate it, and we'll catch up soon. Hopefully, see if your dream with Mike Tyson is true or not.
We'll see.